listening to The Life Manual with your hosts Tom Payani and Emma Bradford, a practical guide giving you tips and tools to enjoy a happy, fulfilled and successful life.
Welcome to The Life Manual with me, Tom Payani, and Emma Bradford. How you doing today, Emma? You alright?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Not bad. Yeah, the sun's come out in Barcelona, so spring's here. Can't complain. Yeah,
It's looking good. It's looking good
Feeling
outside.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, and what are we going to talk about today?
So today we're going to look at the 6 basic human needs. So 6 needs that at a human level, like, we're all looking for unconsciously. And these can affect all areas of our life. And when we fulfill these needs, then we can really feel very happy and fulfilled and healthy in life. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, because this was sort of became famous or was first mentioned through Tony Robbins, wasn't it? The 6 basic needs that make us tick.
Yeah. I mean, there's many different versions of it out there. I mean, there's Maslow's
hierarchy
needs as well.
of needs.
Yeah. I mean, there's many different versions out there.
Yeah.
What we're going to be talking about today is Tony Robbins' 6 basic human needs, his list.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get straight into it then.
Mm-hmm.
The first need, it could be defined as certainty or comfort, yeah?
Yeah, having that sense of perceived certainty, because, I mean, we can't really be 100% sure about many things in life, because life is always changing, always evolving and moving. However, having that perceived sense of certainty, so that gives us comfort, that we feel safe and secure. So for a lot of people, that's really important. And some people want more of this compared to others. So some people want a lot of comfort. And other people, if they have too much of this, if they have too much perceived certainty, they feel a bit trapped, a bit claustrophobic.
Yeah. I mean, the higher the need for certainty, the less risk you'll be willing to take, isn't it? And people are on different points in this scale. Yeah.
Everyone has a different percentage of this. So, because I mean, it really depends, like, what you want as a person. Because I know that if I was to know every single thing that was going to happen, and I was certain about what music will come on the radio when, and every single detail, I would be so bored. I would want some variety. I would want something else in there. But if there's too much variety and not enough perceived certainty or comfort, then things can be very overwhelming. It can bring up a lot of anxiety for people, not being sure about what's going on, not having that level of comfort. Yeah,
I mean, I think you got the need for basic comfort has two facets to it. I think it's either to avoid pain or create pleasure, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And to seek pleasure. And I think depending on where you are on the scale, depending on which one's more important to you, that it's the objective is always to try and achieve one of those two things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So trying to look at it in a practical point of view, in what ways can we create our right level of certainty?
Yeah. I mean, for every person's different. It's asking the question of what brings me comfort. And here we're talking about habits and things that are healthy. We're not talking about eating a whole tub of Ben & Jerry's ice cream and feeling comfort through that. We want to find things like little things, like perhaps it's chatting to a friend, perhaps it's making more time and space for you in your life to have some time to meditate or to go for a walk. Perhaps people feel comforted when they're connected with nature. Every person's different.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've found useful when speaking to clients as well in terms of certainty and comfort is you get the typical answers that are like money. And of course that's a valid answer, but it's also, like you said, creating these good habits that that you would never think would give you that feeling of comfort, whether it's meditating, whether it's making sure that you're spending time with those relationships that are important to you and investing in the relationships with friends or family around you that are important to you. These things are just as valid to create this feeling of comfort, to go towards that pleasure, to remove pain, than the more typical answers of things like money or status.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, you hear about a lot of people that have a lot of money, and many of them, that, I mean, they say money doesn't give you happiness. Money doesn't give you happiness. It might bring a few more options.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, isn't it? It brings options.
Yeah.
You know, it's not good or evil. You know, it is what it is, and it brings options. And I think, you know, going off track a little bit, but people, you know, equate their net worth with their self-worth. You know, and this is a big problem, because they try and they look at their bank balance, and that's how they define themselves as a success or not. And if you ask anybody who's made a serious amount of money, that's not how they define themselves. You know, it allows them, money has allowed them to create a lifestyle they want, or to, you know, gives them options to do things that they've always wanted to do, but it doesn't buy happiness directly. And I know it's an old cliche, but it's true, and people who have made a lot of money will tell you that. Yeah,
exactly. And for some of them, that the money is not what determines their success. Like, for them, the success might be being able to spend some time with their family. The success might be, like, living a successful life might be like being happy and being true to themselves, rather than how much money they've made.
All right, and let's go to the second need then, and that's uncertainty or variety.
Yeah, so this is the complete opposite to the other one that we're talking about. And everyone has, like we said with the other one, everyone has different percentages of this. So some people like a lot of variety. They need a lot of adventure. They need a lot of different experiences and things in their life. Otherwise, they might feel very bored. Or if people have too much, if there's too much variety, if there's too much uncertainty going on, it can bring up a lot of anxiety for people. So it's noticing, okay, what percentage do I feel comfortable with? Like, what feels good for me? And to fulfill that, if we feel that we need more variety, there's many different ways that we can bring in that into our daily life.
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading an article about the 6 basic needs, and they were talking about variety, one of the things Tony Robbins said, he asked a question, he said, do you like surprises? And he said, if you answered yes, you're kidding yourself. Like, you like the surprises you want.
Yes.
The ones you don't want, you call problems.
Yes,
you know? And it's true. But I think the point he then made after that was you still need uncertainty and variety. You still need it in your life. Almost like, you know, you go to the gym to build your muscle. You know, to build your character, you need something to push back against. You need that variety, that uncertainty to help you, you know, develop. I mean, it comes back again. I know we talk about money, but people who maybe have been born into a lot of money, or who had everything given to them, you know, I would always maybe listen to someone who had made that money themselves, or who had been through a lot, or who started off with nothing, or who had lots of, you know, hurdles and barriers to overcome and then made money, because there's been that battle that they've had to create character. If you've had everything given to you, I don't care how much money you've had, you've never had to earn it, you've never had to go through those
it's a completely
battles.
Different story.
100% different, because the person who didn't have it given to him has had to fight through that uncertainty and variety in their life.
And quite often they've had very big driving factors that have led them to get to that. I mean, Tony Robbins, he's an example of this, because his childhood, he went through a lot of things, and that's what gave him the drive to become the person he is today. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but to find that level of hunger coming from a background that has been super, super comfortable for you is just much more difficult, just by definition.
I mean, there can be many different reasons why people might have that drive, but generally, I mean, there are a lot of people that have gone through challenging times, and that has been their driving force, that has been their motivation. And I mean, some people don't even need to go through it, they just need to see other people experiencing that, and then they want to help them as well. But there's always these these things behind behavior. I mean, and this kind of ties in with goal setting and talking about the why behind goal setting. Like when we have a goal that we want to achieve, like ask yourself, okay, what is it that I'm really looking for here? Is it the money that I want to earn? Is that really the thing that I'm looking for? Or is it having a sense of comfort and perceived certainty? Like asking yourself, okay, which of these needs am I really looking for?
Yeah, I mean, and following on with the theme of making money, when people have an aim to make X amount of money, usually, well, 100% of the time, that's not the real reason why they want to make that specific amount. It's because they want to do something with that amount or meet another need.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it. Yeah.
Whether that's whether that's love, whether that's health, whether that's time, whatever. But it's, you know, there's always another factor that they haven't maybe brought to the surface yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So with variety, I mean, like little things, if people feel that they need a bit more variety in life, if they're feeling bored, then there's many different things that they can try. Like, for example, like even small things, like trying a new recipe, like having variety in the kitchen, going to a new restaurant, trying a new bar, like starting a new hobby. All of these bring a sense of variety.
Moving out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a good author called, I don't know if you've heard of him, James Altucher.
No.
And he recommends that everybody should just write a list of 10 ideas every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you're going to achieve every single one of those ideas. But again, to exercise this creativity muscle in your brain, to give your life variety, just write down 10 ideas a day. They could be business ideas. They could be ideas to improve your lifestyle in one way or another, productivity ideas of how you could help someone close to you or how you could surprise someone you love. You know, it doesn't matter exactly. Depends what, you know, it doesn't matter. But the point is, he says, if you do this for 6 months, you'll become like an ideas machine.
Yeah.
You know, you won't be able to stop. You won't be able to stop creating, even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And you know that you know, it's like a domino effect. These ideas that you keep producing.
It's exercising that muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, it's gonna only positively help you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a great idea to really kind of tap into that sense of creativity and innovation and think outside the box and bring that into day-to-day life. Yeah.
All right. And then the next need is significance. Feeling important, basically. This is a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, because a lot of time, like we have, for many people, we have this negative association with this, and we think, oh, like if you need significance, then you just kind of there's a lot of limiting beliefs that can be attached to this. However, it is a human basic need. Like every single human being on this planet needs some form of significance. Like perhaps we don't all need to be on a stage and having thousands and thousands of people cheering and clapping us or kind of giving us awards, but at some level we need to feel significance, every single human being. And
I think the issue with significance is what we need to see to make us feel significant. And what I mean by that is this idea of, you know, how many friends I've got on Facebook, or how many followers I've got on Instagram, or, you know, again, going back to the bottom line in my bank balance, you know, and sometimes we're looking at the wrong places necessarily to show that significance, because as you just mentioned there, significance is maybe it's those few close relationships in your life. How strong are they? That's your significance.
Yeah.
Or how much you help someone or other people, how useful you are in your own life. That's significance, you know, and sometimes we look in the wrong places to find significance, I think.
Yeah, we tend to look outside for other people to give us the significance rather than looking in our life and noticing the little moments where we can feel that significance. So we're kind of, it's out there. It's kind of those little moments where we think, where someone says a nice thing. Like quite often people say a compliment. Like when I'm working with clients, I work with a lot of women who have low self-esteem, And for them, receiving a compliment is really tough, because their natural reaction is like, if someone says, "Oh, you look nice," they're like, "Oh, no, my hair's awful today." They try to reverse it rather than accept that compliment and just say thank you. And that's a moment where they could feel significant. They could feel that good feeling, but they've literally just pushed it away.
And I think there's an asterisk to that point. And maybe this sounds a bit harsh, but I think it's quite insulting not taking a compliment from someone. Because if someone's given you a compliment, they've actually been a bit vulnerable themselves there. And by you dismissing that, I think you're actually showing a bit of lack of respect, saying that their opinion doesn't matter.
Is something that, yeah, exactly. It's something that a lot of people have grown up doing. And
Habit for a lot of people.
Yeah, and to realise that actually this is a wonderful gift, and for me to accept it and say thank you is giving a wonderful gift back to the person that's just said it, because you're accepting what they've said. And I know that in the past this was something that I found really challenging as well. And now I've made it a habit where if people say something to me, then I always reply with thank you. Like that's how I mean, that's really important, just to accept that, because they've kind of gone out of their comfort zone to say something.
And I think in a practical sense, the key thing for trying to meet this need of significance is maybe looking in places that you haven't always looked. You know, opening your mind a little bit to, well, okay, maybe I can be significant in ways other than my Instagram following.
Yes,
I think that's the key thing here.
There's something, there's many things that are a lot more important than how many people are following on Instagram. Yeah.
All right, and then the next needs love and connection. I mean, this is a pretty self-explanatory one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, human beings, we need that sense of connection. We're born to be in communities and to connect with each other, and this is what's so nice about some of those groups that are out at the moment, like Good Vibrations Barcelona or the Liberators International, those groups that create these social experiments in the streets and do eye contact experiments or give out free hugs, because that's one of the ways that we can fulfill that need, to join in and to really and tap into that sense of love and connection. And
also it's not, because I know for a lot, for some people maybe it's a little bit a step too far, possibly, or feeling comfortable enough to get like something like a free hug. I know where I grew up, a lot of my mates would struggle with that concept, and that's fine, whatever. But I think the point is, it doesn't have, it can, for a good example is, I have a friend who runs a chain of gyms, and he's noticed, I'm giving away all his like market research now, but he's noticed that such a massively, the reason why something like CrossFit has become so popular is because of the social aspect to it.
Yeah.
And a gym, he's struggling because, well, he's not struggling, he's doing very well, but he's struggling with the thought of how can he make his gym more sociable? Because a lot of people go to a gym and they want to get fit, they want to get healthy, but actually the social reason is a massive factor. And of course you can do classes or things like that, but this is why CrossFit and things like that have become so much popular, because people didn't really realise or didn't tap into how important the social element of things like this are. It's not
having that connection, that support and accountability as well.
Exactly. Well, I mean, a lot of clients who get coaches, a massive reason is accountability, isn't it? And I think so. Whether it's anything from one end of the scale of free hugs to the other end of the scale, just having a chat with someone, people need that connection, not just in a romantic sense, but in there's so many different types of love, isn't there? And community and connection. There's all sorts of definitions
so
of that.
And even just that feeling of love. I mean, it can be very simple. I mean, I feel a sense of love if I watch a video with a cute little cat, or I feel a sense of love if I see something I love, or a colour I love, or the sun is shining, or things like that. Those feel-good moments can really help us tap into that sense of love as well. It doesn't have to be...
Why do so many people have dogs?
Yeah.
It's
pets.
Pets, this is an example. Yeah, and you can't avoid this need. You can kid yourself that you don't need love and connection in some form, but everybody does, don't they? There's no way out of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is why it's called 6 basic human needs. I mean, these needs that we need at all levels, that every single human being needs these in order to feel happy and fulfilled.
Okay. And the next one's growth.
Growth.
You know, and there's a famous quote, isn't there? If you're not growing, you're dying. You know, and that sums it up really, doesn't it?
And this is one of the ones that, this one and also the next one that we're going to talk about, these are the two that people often forget about. Because quite often people are aware that, I know that I need to feel loved, I know that I need to have a sense of variety and all of that. But that sense of growth, sometimes people forget that, and it's so important.
Well, and you know, you've got these examples of maybe people who have made it in inverted commas in a business sense, or achieved what they've wanted to achieve career-wise or whatever, and then as soon as they achieve that, they get restless again and they need to start a new project or a new goal or a new idea because they're not growing. And as soon as you stop growing, it doesn't matter what you've achieved before. You're looking at the next thing. That's just the way we're built. That's our hardwiring. You know, and this is the point. You know, goals are great, and you can meet goals, but once you've met them, you're not going to be content for long. You know, you've got all these psychological research where people have like won the lottery.
Yes. You
know, and they, I mean, this is off the top of my head, so I'll have to, you know, you can fact check this for me, but it's something along the concepts, right? It's something along the lines of, if you've got someone who won the lottery and someone who was in like a serious car accident, you know, maybe became paralyzed or something like that, they compared their happiness after these two events, which were obviously very different. But after X amount of time, whether it's a year or 2 years, I'm not sure, the happiness levels tailed off to be pretty much similar again. You know, and this is the point. Like, unless, you know, you can have certain things happen to you in life, you can meet certain goals, but you always need to feel you're growing, otherwise you won't be in a better state of mind.
Yeah, and it's really important to notice our relationship with goals and when we're goal setting and how we move through that process. This is actually taps into the topic of what I sent my newsletter subscribers the other day. I was talking about this and how our sense of joy doesn't come from the sole actualization of the goal. That's not where it comes from. It comes from the process. It's like, as they say, smelling the flowers along the way. It's those little moments, those little details, those little experiences in the lead up to that goal. That's where we get our sense of joy. That's where we get all of these wonderful learnings, wonderful insights that can really help us feel the sense of growth.
You know, there's an example of, if I told you right after this podcast we're going on holiday to Barbados, you'd be pretty happy, I think. But if I told you that we're going to Barbados on holiday in 2 months' time, that will give you a lot more happiness, because you've got those 2 months to look forward to it. You've got the process,
the lead up
to look forward to, and it's not I know it's not exactly the same as growth, but the point is, it's the process, isn't it? The thing itself is not the answer necessarily. It's the process, it's the lead up, it's the action, it's doing it, you know, building towards that journey. Yeah, definitely. And we don't have to, like, if we're learning a new hobby or skill, this can be one of the ways that we can feel growth. We don't have to produce a masterpiece straight away. We don't have to be perfect straight away. It's that experience and learning new things and having those stories and everything from that journey that really makes it worthwhile, and that we can feel that sense of fulfillment that we're growing and evolving as a human being. Yeah, and I think growth is, like you said, is very much connected to the final need, which is contribution, isn't it? Because it's the reason we grow is, in my opinion at least, and I think Tony Robbins would probably agree with me, is that, you know, we have something of value to give. That's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah, and like I said before, this is one of the ones that people forget about as well, and
it's the most important one.
It's so important to have that sense of contribution, that we're offering something to other people or society, or whether it's just a neighbor, doing acts of kindness or doing something that can be a service to other people.
I mean, this is what life's meaning comes from, really, isn't it? you know, what we can contribute, what we can give to the world. And it doesn't mean you have to cure cancer, but it just means being a nice person, or maintaining those relationships you have with people close to you, or just trying to be a positive influence in any way. But if you're not contributing in some way, one, everyone else is missing out, but two, the person who misses out the most is yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is so important. And like you said, it doesn't have to be something big. It can simply just be smiling. As you go into work and go into the office, that you just... You give everyone a nice smile, and that's your way of contributing and spreading that.
Yeah, something so small.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something very interesting I read. I can't remember where I did read it, actually. But it was the idea of, if you can help someone, you have to have this idea that the world is full of abundance, not scarcity. So maybe if I can connect two people together, because I know they can help each other, if I get nothing out of it, that's fine. Or if I can, you know, if I know someone is suited for a certain job or project or whatever, and maybe even I'm suited to it, but if the other person's suited to it more, then recommend them. And this might sound a bit counterintuitive, but there's evidence, and there's evidence to suggest that people who actually do this, I'm not talking about karma, I'm not talking about like law of attraction or all these things, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, if you're a good connector in a practical sense and you're helping people, it will come back to help you, because not because of some karmic force, but because you're reliable, and because, you know, you've recommended the right people to help each other out, and people like people who can help them. You know, simple as that. And you'll be one of the first people in their head next time they've got something that might be suitable for you. So it's win-win, regardless of your like spirituality or your opinion.
There's
or views
different
or
ways of explaining it. I mean, I talk about it from an energy point of view, that kind of, we want to have that movement, but yeah, absolutely as well. It can like, you're just putting the good word out there and you're helping people to feel good, and comes back. Yeah,
and there's no negative result that can come from that. The worst case scenario is you've just helped a couple of people out, so then at least you can feel good in that selfish way. You know?
Yes.
And you know, it's also, I think, something else connected with this point is the idea of sharing, isn't it? You know, if something good happens to you, or you get a piece of good news or anything like that, the first thing you do is call someone you care about, isn't it? And that's just that's an automatic human reaction. And I think, you know, that's our hardwiring as well, isn't it? We want to share experiences. We want to contribute to other people, whether it's with news, information, skills, ideas, whatever. You know, that's part of who we are, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, if someone wants to bring more of this into their life, there's, like we said, it can be something very small, by just like smiling or kind of offering a helping hand to a neighbor. Or it could even be doing something a little bit more, like signing up to a charity, like doing some volunteering work, whatever feels right for you. Like, there's many different options out there to feel that sense of contribution. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've gone through them, Emma.
Yeah. So those are the 6 basic human needs. And I mean, these can be applied to anything. These can be applied to relationships. These can be applied to ourselves as we go through life. These can be applied to business as well. So like, and sales. So, I mean, I've done some corporate trainings where I've gone through these with businesses, and they have like talking about each of these 6 basic human needs and helping them to understand that their clients need to feel all of these.
Absolutely, yeah. It's super useful in a business context.
And their employees need to feel all of these, working within the company. If you are managing a team, you need to help your employees to feel these on a day-to-day level, and find out how you can bring in more connection into the workplace, more significance, more variety, more comfort, more growth, more contribution. And if there's, in terms of relationships, like, how can you bring in more of this into the relationship? And what of these 6 basic human needs are more, which ones are more important to you, and which ones are more important to your partner as well? So, I mean, I love these. These can be applied to anything.
Well, it's a great foundation, isn't it?
It's wonderful, yeah.
All right. Run out of time, Emma.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's gone quick.
It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for contributing.
And you. Thank you.
I will see you very soon. Take care.
Yes. Bye.
You were listening to the Life Manual podcast with your hosts, Tom Payani and Emma Bradford. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share the link with your friends and family, helping us to spread these practical tools to more people in the world.